We chose a life of lies. Now those lies have returned to haunt us.
If you guys were in 19th century London, who do you think you would be?
I'd be Susan.
19th century, what did you say?
She'd be Susan.
I'd be Elton John. He was around 19th century, wasn't he?
I'd be Queen Victoria.
Quite right.
Yeah. Really, really young.
You will marry John Bellicis.
Let's run away together. There's definitely things I have in common with Mariah. She's very independent, I think. And that's something I think that had our characters been friends, I would have admired about you is your ability to just get what you want. You have one objective, that, and you are going to go for it. I think Mariah could take a leaf out of your book.
Yeah, I think Susan's just a modern woman. I don't see her as bad, but of course, to play her, I couldn't judge her. So I found her to be a woman who was put in a situation that now we have remedies for. But at the time, if the situation she was in occurred, she's the one that is the fall guy. She takes the blame, and she knows it's not her fault. So she has to take a sort of slightly roundabout way to not, lose her goddamn mind in that house, living that life she's living.
I think what's at the heart of all of this is the fact that it's a family dynamic fueled by grief and how people deal with grief. Mm-hmm. They lose ostensibly the child of their heart, and they're left with a little boy who is porous to that kind of emotional activity. And you put a boy who loses an older sister into that situation, who then becomes an only child, and actually has more in common with his mother than he thinks, because he's also depressive and also longing to be in the country rather than in the city. And you have a dynamite situation that could devastate a man.
From my perspective, I see him as an heir to my business, and he shows no interest in that whatsoever. So I see that as a failing of him, just being lazy and not prepared to take it on board. And I think there's a very difficult relationship between James and Oliver, without a doubt, that never quite gets repaired. Towards the end of the series, something happens, but it's a very trying relationship, and it's a relationship based on particularly James not being able to understand his son.
Do we have a right to hide from her that she has a grandson?
We've hidden it for more than a quarter of a century. He's been told his father died in battle and his mother in childbirth, all of which is true.
Life for women was very, very different then. And the choices, went from the constrictions we felt in the corsets all the way through to what you could and couldn't say in society. It was a totally restrictive time. And you couldn't use the restroom alone either. You couldn't get that off to actually pee. So it's like, infantilizing a grown woman. It's a sort of crazy scenario to look back and imagine that women had to sustain and endure. So we've come a long way, actually.
Even in the privacy of your own home, you can't do the activities that you would enjoy. There's always somebody watching you, whether it's a maid or a mother or a husband or a sibling. There's always this expectation and this pressure put on you. So you can't ever really stop to question if this is the right thing or the wrong thing or what you want, because you don't have that opportunity to, even explore. We have freedom now that you just didn't have then.
Well, yeah, but what defies logic is there's still some countries that
Absolutely.
Women don't have those freedoms still. And you think, this is insanity in the 21st century.
And there's isolation because you don't have anything to do, but there isn't privacy. Right. And that's a terrible place to live.
What is the secret you're not telling me?
Why do you think we are so obsessed with British period pieces?
I think yours are more expensive, aren't they? Because Westerns are sort of epic, big. And ours take place in living rooms, and you just...
Probably just like one place that has
we're just one living room, and we just kind of move a chair and move a sofa. But you need David Lean, yeah.
I think it's because
we're really good at it.
We're really good at it, and two, we do have an extraordinary history that goes back so many years, and particularly with something like Belgravia, this touches on a period which was just one of the most important and most defining moments in our history of Great Britain, whatever you want to call it. The beginnings of the Industrial Revolution. People from the middle classes being able to forge their own way in life and make their own career paths and become extremely successful and extremely wealthy. So, You know, it was and the beginnings of the Victorian period. So it was a massive sort of period of change and new beginnings for the UK or for Great Britain.
In the Industrial Revolution, that's when all of this started to escalate. And who isn't interested in their recent history? You know, which family does not want to hear the stories of their grandparents? Say, oh, tell me the story about when Grandpa said da 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 da. You know, there is something very healthy about knowing where we came from.
And it's going to change, obviously, in the future now with social media and everybody being able to cover everything. Back then, of course, we didn't have photographs necessarily. Well, some photographs, but, you know, so there's so much more.
Yeah, the posh people did.
Yeah, the posh people did, obviously. They had lovely cameras, you know.
Or paintings
Olympus
of
trips.
you.
Another
warm
one.
and vivid ones.
Don't be obsequious.
It seems that I am in possession of a secret.
Yes?